Welcome to another episode of Two Ales and Hockey Tales with Wally. This episode is brought to you by Plumbers Golf. And today, I am so excited to have on a 35-year-old from Halifax, Nova Scotia, a 7th-round draft pick of the Pittsburgh Penguins. His hockey journey has taken him to Canada, the USA, Sweden, Russia, Finland, Germany, and Wales. He had a 20-goal season in the Swedish Elite League. He's also a gold medalist in the Under-18 and World Juniors for Team Canada, an EIHL playoff champion and Finnish League champion, but he's best known around Finland for being able to go 80 kilometers an hour in second gear. Welcome to the podcast, Stephen Dixon.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, man. Well, it's this is where I get. How are you today, by the way? You doing good?
I'm doing good, yeah.
Okay, thanks for coming on. So usually I mention how we know each other, and I guess this is a bizarre one, is we've never played together. We both played at Cardiff, but I guess why don't you explain the first time you ever met me?
Well, yeah, I think the first time I met you, you were naked, Wally, I think. If I remember correctly, it's hard to forget.
Yeah, no, I was naked. I was spray painted too, but
yeah, you were spray painted. You were back for, they had what was it, Wally night they called it. So you were back in town, kind of like what would you call it, like a appreciation night, right?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Anyways, yeah, I heard a lot about you. The boys were telling stories. I'm like, oh, this guy must be a beauty, blah, blah, blah. And then you came flying in the room naked, pumped the boys up before a game, and I was just dying laughing. I'm like, oh man, this guy, he's quite a character here. and then somehow you got fully dressed and dropped the ceremonial face-off like under 3 minutes. It was incredible.
Yeah, no, it was all planned. It all went according to plan. I had to whip on the dress pants, the jersey they had given me, and I guess the hair was like okay after wearing the Taz head. Yeah, Lordo was like, seriously, Wally, like as soon as I got in the coach's room after, he's like, you got 2 minutes and you're dropping the puck. And I had to run around the bottom of the bowl there.
Yeah.
And I get out there, and then they have me go to the red carpet, and to see your guys' faces on the blue line that had never met me, I'll never forget.
A lot of us didn't know either. We were like, what is going on? This guy's something else. And I think we went for a few beers after the game. I think we went.
That's right. Yeah, and we hit Chippy Lane, I believe.
Yes. You can't miss that spot, right? You gotta.
Why don't you explain to the listeners what Chippy Lane is?
So yeah, Chippy Lane. We kind of have a similar thing here. When I was younger, we have Pizza Corner in Halifax, so it was everyone goes to Pizza Corner and gets your late night food. But Chippy Lane it's kind of, I would say it's more of an alleyway. It looks like late night. During the day, it actually looks pretty good, but yeah, late night it's
a whole different world, isn't it?
Basically, everybody from the city goes there to get kebabs and whatever, pizza, just late night food. And there's puke everywhere. There's garbage everywhere.
Passed out
it's
people.
Mayhem. Complete mayhem. That's the first time I was there, because I was comparing it to Pizza Corner here in Halifax, and it's all young people there, Pizza Corner. But Chippy Lane, I mean, it's, people our parents' age, people, all different ages, and it's like, wow, this is crazy. It's funny.
Oh yeah, man, they could get absolutely totaled in Wales.
It's a fun culture.
It is, and I guess I would say it's somewhat of a link, actually, is that we both got our MBAs in Cardiff. So congratulations on doing that, because you went to the Met, eh?
Were you at the Met too?
Oh yeah, it was the first year of the Met.
Okay, yeah.
Great spot.
My buddy Stu McRae was at Cardiff University before.
Right. Yeah, we won't get into all the specifics, but I love the Met. Great school. Yeah, one year buckle down and get your MBA, right?
It was it was hard, but I'm glad I did it. But we had a good crew I went to school with too, so it was we had a lot of fun going out there. It's pretty, you're a lot older than everybody else too. It's kind of a weird feeling, but
Yeah,
I
and there's
enjoy I loved it. I would do that every year, to be honest. Just it gets you away from, sometimes you practice, you go home, you whatever, especially if you're by yourself, right? So that kind of was your entertainment as well. I had a lot of fun, met a lot of good people.
So did I. I actually had Kumar on episode 10 from India on the pod, from Cardiff Metropolitan University. He went to a Devils game from India. That was his first ever hockey game, and I got him tickets. And we told that story. But anyways, that was after a couple ales. That was the first time I'd ever done a podcast. It was pretty rough. But
I
okay.
had a buddy from Kuwait too. We got him tickets. They're like, this is amazing.
Yeah, no, it is a cool experience, and you're right though. It keeps a hockey player moving during the year, right? Like instead of going home and hitting Netflix and putting the feet up, it keeps you moving and it gets you prepared for like the real world. But you got too long of a story to get into all this school stuff. But at the start of the episode, I did mention that this episode has a sponsor, ladies and gentlemen, and it's Plumbers Golf. So here we go. The newest lifestyle brand for the social golfer is best known for their slogan, Chip, Putt, Chirp. Branded for the social, scrappy, good time golfer. They love ales and hockey tales. Even this week's guest with the second best backhand on the East Coast, he rocks their gear. All listeners of the podcast will have access to the promo code 2ales20. And that's at plumbersgolf.com. Get 20% off your order with 2ales20. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a sponsor. Thanks, Sticky.
It's good stuff. It's good stuff.
All right. Now, we got a couple random stories / questions to get the episode started before we get into my normal routine. I want to know about the epiphany of when you decided that perhaps your hockey career and living in Europe may go better staying on North American time.
Does that mean I'm staying up late, eh?
A colleague of yours, a former teammate, told me that you decided to, I guess, basically sleep the entire day like you were in Canada, and then he said you would wake up like you were opposite. You were like an owl, and you stayed on North American time, and you said this is easier than going through the jet lag.
Well, there was actually one year I remember where I would, and it's not good, but I would sleep. I was getting my 8 hours, but it was broken up too. So I would sleep from I was napping probably, say 3 to 7 or 3 to 7 in the afternoon. I'd nap, get up, eat, blah, blah, blah. And then I'd sleep probably 3 to 7 or 3 to 8 at night too. It was kind of crazy, but I just got in this weird routine, and I was playing pretty good too. I'm like, I'm just gonna, might as well keep
just
this
go
going.
with it, eh? You know what? I was a heavy napper too, so I can't judge you. Until I had kids, I excelled at napping. That MBA really, that year really jammed me up with children and an MBA. I tell you, naps were over forever.
Yeah, it's funny. Doing the school kind of got me out of I used to need a nap. Like it was like clockwork. It'd be practice, eat lunch, I'd go for a coffee, and then I'd nap. But then doing the school while I was 33, it got me out of napping, but it might have been a little too late.
That's ridiculous, because I was doing the same thing till about whenever we had kids, like 28, 29. Like I had to nap, man. Those days were exhausting, but like when you look at the real world now and you look at how little you need to sleep and how much you got to do, man, those years in Europe where you just kind of went to practice and played, and then like you went for coffee and went grocery shopping.
I didn't realize till this year, not playing, how fun it is. You know what I mean? Like you're just so used to it. You just every year you just do it. You think that's kind of normal, and then you realize like
how much you miss it.
it's great time, good, great opportunity to have, do that stuff. So
Yeah, I totally agree. Okay, another random question is because I'm a bit into food. This one kind of threw me off. Is if you would go to say like an Italian restaurant and they give you the nice bread, and they give you like the olive oil, balsamic, little salt and pepper. That's not what you dip your bread in, eh?
I dip everything in ketchup. Is that what they had?
Yeah. So you do that at an Italian restaurant, you'd say, I just heard it's always a blob of ketchup.
With just about everything, yeah. With just about everything. There's only, there's certain
So maybe
things.
that's going with napping. You're still just a child, eh?
Well, basically, yeah, basically. But I mean, I wouldn't put it on like fruit or a salad. But I mean, there's a lot of things where, I mean, I kind of need ketchup, and
You
funny,
need
my old
ketchup, eh? That's just sugar and like, okay, go ahead. Sorry, I'm into
That's
cooking and like I went over to Europe and got into cooking, and you go over and are dipping
into
nice
ketchup.
bread and ketchup. Come on, man.
No, I mean, I wouldn't specifically ask for the ketchup just to dip it in bread, but if I had ketchup there, I would.
But if there was a bottle of Heinz 57 sitting around, that thing's gonna get
Exactly.
ruined, eh?
But I guess my old man, when he was growing up too, he loved ketchup too. So maybe it's hereditary.
Okay, now last random question here, and then you can guess who my source is. Because this is the same guy that told me that you love second gear as your favorite gear. You loved rolling stops. Hey, you couldn't come to a full stop. You had to keep her rolling. And the one trip he was with you, the car sounded like it was shaking. And he says, "Man, this car doesn't sound right." And you were hitting about 80 kilometers in second gear. But the story is, you had a Russian credit card or debit card in Finland, and you guys had hit the bars, and you'd have no idea if there was money left in the account or if there's anything left in it. And every time you decide to try and swipe it, if it worked, you guys would have a good celebration and have a great night.
Oh, yeah, that's true. I couldn't get the online banking. I couldn't figure it out. Well, I don't even know if there was online banking. It was, I mean, nothing. Probably wasn't in English, but yeah, that's true. That's I'm guessing that's Caldwell, is it? It's either Caldwell or Lee. Is it?
Caldy, yeah.
Caldy, yeah.
I tracked him down.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun in those 2 years in Finland. Geez, I spent 2 years in this place, Pori, where I played with Caldy, and man, we had a lot of fun. We had a great group of import guys, and it was like.
Did you guys win it there?
Yeah, they won it my second year, but I left at the transfer deadline and went to Russia. And then
okay, so they won it without you.
When I left, I think they were out of a playoff spot. I left. I don't know if they lost the game after, ended up winning the championship. But I was happy for it. It was it's a great hockey town there. But yeah, me and Caldsy, we used to. Some of the stuff we'd get into. I mean, there was a little airport there too. You could fly to Stockholm for like $30. You'd be there in like a half hour or something. So it was just some of the stuff we did. We had a lot of fun.
Yeah, he mentioned something about you had an old pair of shoes, and do you know what that story's about?
I don't know.
Okay. Either way, he just said someone had gotten a really nice present, brand new shoes, and you bought them off of him and gave him your old shoes in the box in Finland at a bar.
I don't remember that one.
Well, you know what? Maybe he has a really good memory. This guy, yeah. I randomly got a hold of him because I used to.
Actually our buddy Leezy. I think I actually remember that story, but it wasn't me. It was another guy.
Okay, well,
I'll go with that.
Randomly though, like I hadn't talked to Caldy since I played with him in Syracuse, like my rookie year, and I emailed him just about coming on the pod, and then I was going through your Finland years, and I saw him on the roster, and I thought, I better ask him about this guy, this character. Okay,
Caldy's a real good guy, awesome guy.
Okay, so minor hockey to the Cape Breton Screaming Eagles. Give me a rundown.
Yeah, so I grew up playing here in Halifax for the Halifax Hawks growing up, and then I played midget AAA for the Halifax McDonald's. Then I got which was great. It was just right up the street actually from my parents, so I could walk to the rink. That was nice. Yeah, and then I got drafted to Cape Breton, and yeah, I spent four awesome years in Cape Breton, which is it's a fun city. It was still in Nova Scotia for me, which was nice, and being able to. I think my parents were happy because I stayed in the same like high school and education system.
Did you really?
So
Like it's all
well,
right
no, just
there.
like the Nova Scotia.
Okay.
I didn't have to go to Quebec and try to figure out my school stuff. So no, I was happy to stay in Nova Scotia, and met a lot of great people down there, and that's where Joey Haddad's from. There's so many great people down there, and played with so many good guys. And but yeah, growing up, minor hockey here, it's I think Atlantic Canada in general is pretty small hockey community, so it's kind of everyone kind of knows everybody, and no, we had a lot of good fun, and I think it's the same for everybody. Like most of my best buddies now are guys from Pee Wee and Bantam, and growing up like that. So no, we had a lot of fun over the years, that's for sure.
Yeah, your hockey buddies seem to be your best buddies. There's no doubt about that. Yeah. Okay. And also Chris Colligan's from that area too, right?
Yeah, Cully. Yeah, Cully. I played with when I was 19. Cully was 16, so I played his first year, and then my last year. Yeah, Cully's a great guy. Although Cully Haddad, all those guys from Cape Breton. I mean, there's not haven't met too many bad people down there, and I had a good laugh playing with Cully, and I missed him in Cardiff. I think Cully might have finished playing the year before I got there, maybe.
Trying to think if he was done the same time as me or if he played one more year or not.
Maybe he retired. Yeah, maybe he was two. I think maybe he retired. Then 2 years before me, I believe. But yeah, it would have been fun. Would have been fun to play with Cully over there.
Yeah, I played our first year was together with Cully and Haddad, and I hit it off with both of them. I really liked those boys there. They were my neighbors, and Haddad was my roommate on the road. So yeah, I've
been Haddad's roommate in the road the last 2 years.
Oh really? So they sick fellas like us on them, eh? I really teach them a thing or two.
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
Okay, well, around that same time, then I'd say we got to get into this. Is that I think we start with probably. I'm not going to go with the under 18s. We could talk about that, but I'd say we got to talk about like that. Some people say it's the best World Junior team ever. You were on a World Junior team with Crosby, Bergeron, Perry, Phaneuf, Richards, and Shea Weber. And there's more than that. Sorry for burping in the mic, folks. But there was more big names than that, and you were on that World Junior team, and that was your second year on the World Juniors, eh? Like, geez.
Yeah, it was. Obviously, awesome memory. To look back on now. I think as more time goes by, you kind of realize how cool that was, and I think it all kind of started for me really with the under 18s though, coming up through that program, and we were able to win the under 18 gold medal in Yaroslavl at the Worlds, and we had a big chunk of those guys end up making it the next year in Helsinki, and then it was a great group of guys. I mean, the 85s were obviously you didn't see a lot of them throughout the season, a lot of the guys, but everyone kind of looked forward to those tournaments. And I mean, you look at that roster, and the funny thing is with all those guys, and these guys are all-star guys, and there was no egos. Everyone got along, and we had a good laugh. So that was a big part of it. Kind of like any team. I mean, everyone needs to get along and have fun, and there's definitely good chemistry there.
Oh, that's pretty cool. You had that life experience. So where were some of those tournaments? Did you go anywhere cool? Any good cities?
Yeah, we did the first under 18 was in I think it was the Holinka Cup. That was in Piastani. I think it was Piastani, it's Slovakia. And that was kind of all our first trip. Well, not maybe not everyone, but for me, that was our first trip to Europe, and that was kind of it was a bit of an eye opener. It was like kind of, wow, it was a little different. And then the under 18 Worlds, that was in Yaroslavl, Russia, which I actually ended up going to. I ended up playing there after many years after that. But that was a bit of a. I shouldn't say much of a culture shock because the facilities there were beautiful. The rink was brand new. It was incredible, and most of the time you're just going from the rink to the hotel anyway. In a tournament like that, there's so many meetings, but that was definitely a cool trip. And I mean, I never thought I'd end up back there playing, however many years later, 10 years later. And then yeah, we our first World Juniors was in Helsinki, and yeah, Finland. I ended up spending 4 years there later on after that, and that's such an awesome country. That might be, definitely, if not one of my favorite places I played in Europe. Just an awesome people. They love their hockey there. Same with Sweden, all those places. And then yeah, the last one was in North Dakota. So that was cool. That was when we won the gold medal. It was Winnipeg's very close. So I mean, every game it was all Canadian fans. It was a wild atmosphere. It was, and I think people were waiting for that gold medal too. It was a few years since they won one, so it was mayhem down there.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, man. Live as a kid and as an adult, I've always watched the World Juniors. It's my favorite hockey to watch in the world. And TSN does such a great job of like putting it on, right? That like it pumps everybody up so much. Like Canadians are the ones that are so into it, where the rest of the countries are like, well, the 18 and unders are like the same thing as the 20 and unders, right? It's all the same. But
Yeah,
TSN makes such a production that it's so big in Canada, and I'm so into it.
I think it's starting to grow a bit in those other countries. I think it's starting to get kind of, well, they kind of look at it like for us some years with the World Championships. Back, it's getting bigger and stuff in Canada, but before it was kind of like, oh, it's the World Championships, but I mean, you go to some other countries, they live for the World Championships, right? So it's
Oh man, it is everything to them, and every
yeah,
season in Europe ends so that everybody can go to the World Championships. The only league that doesn't care is the NHL.
yeah, and I think that's probably why in Canada it's not such a big deal, right? I mean, it is, but it's
Think
you know,
about if the NHL shut down earlier and Canada got their best team and every year was the best on best. Think about
oh
that.
man, yeah, it'd be crazy.
Right, right. Instead of everybody hoping something happens every 4 years, folks, we could do it every year.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Next question then is pretty awesome, by the way, that you played on the World Juniors. That's you got to be the first guy on the pod to do that, I'm pretty sure. So cheers, man. Cheers. First World Juniors gold medalist, folks, and 18 and under, maybe. I definitely World Junior gold. Okay. So then you were drafted by Pittsburgh. Which year did that happen?
That was 2003. Went to Pittsburgh.
So that's like at the start of Cape Breton or middle of it, I guess. And then
Yeah,
so you sign with them. Um
yeah.
what's that like then? What's your first training camp like, and like you're finally there?
Well, yeah, it was. I mean, we always had like rookie camps, and then you go down. Yeah, we go down in the summers for all that stuff. But yeah, after you sign, and then you go to the real training camps. It was yeah, it was a pretty cool experience because they still had Mario was still playing then, and it was pretty wild experience really because a lot of the older guys were still there that you grew up watching. I mean, idolizing really. So it's kind of a crazy crazy thing, I guess. But I mean, when you're there, you don't really think about it too much. You just kind of go about your business and, just try to do your best. But yeah, we ended up, I ended up in Wilkes-Barre after that, after training camp and all that. And
Can I ask quick though, while we're on that topic, is what that was like Mario being around, like however long you lasted there, was that's gotta be, that's pretty up there in like,
well, it was just cool to be on the ice, same sheet ice with him and watch him. And just, I didn't realize how big he was, and he's so smooth, and yeah, he was just fun to watch. I mean, yeah, I mean, he's probably one of, he is one of the best to ever do it, right? So just to see him and the way he skates, and just how big and his reach and everything it was pretty crazy.
so I guess then, I guess since this pod is generally not big name players, I got to ask these questions while I got guys that played with these guys,
I never played with him, just a training camp.
No, I understand that, but this next one is like, so you're on the World Juniors with Crosby, then you're drafted to the Penguins and you're going to those training camps, and you're from the East Coast. So you gotta have somewhat, you gotta know him somewhat with all those ties, right?
Yeah, well, we grew up. So Sid's 87 and I'm in 85, but Sid would always jump up. He'd jump up, play double underage, and Sid was always, even doing that, he was, the best guy. So it was, I grew up playing against him, and playing with him. I think we played on a select team in, I think it might have been Adam. So yeah, we played on the Nova Scotia Raiders, and yeah, going through those, the World Junior stuff, and having another guy from Halifax, and before that it wasn't, you didn't see too many, so many guys from Nova Scotia get that opportunity. So, for those 2 years, with being there with him, and usually growing up playing against him, and he was in Rimouski, I was in Cape Breton as well, in junior. But that was a cool experience to go through that, playing on his team. But from being from around here, we'd skate in the summers, and definitely been watched, seen his whole career. You forget, to a lot of us, he's just Sid, right? And then you forget, you're sitting there, geez, he's, for him, it's like, oh, he won the cup this year. It's, oh, great. You see him and you forget, he's a very down to earth guy. So you forget all the stuff he's accomplished, right? Which is, that's why he's so, so many people like him, and just the way he handles himself, right?
And that's why, like, guys like from Ontario and everywhere else, it's like, oh my gosh, like Sidney Crosby, but like you guys are like, oh, it's just Sid, like, cause you know him.
Well, I think, we just grew up playing against him, and guys played with him. Everyone kind of knows, like, oh, and then, after you realize, geez, you forget. It's more how down to earth and a good of a guy he is. You forget when you're talking, how much he's accomplished. It's incredible.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you're in the minors with the Pens organization, because I think you got so much going on here. We're going to keep it Cole's notes for some of this stuff. Is the Penguins minor league days. Did you ever feel like you were close to a call up? Because I've seen the type of player you are. I watched the match on Wally night, which, by the way, I think you scored a goal, and there's a picture of you like celebrating, and I'm topless in the crowd in the background. It's quite the photo, actually. Now that you're on the podcast, I've seen that photo. But for you to get 40 something points in the AHL, I don't think you're really necessarily like whatever you want to call it. You're more like maybe in front of the net, tough. Maybe you could shut down top lines. I don't think you're really there to be a point a game guy or anything, but you had over 40 points a game, or what did I just say? 40 points that season in an 8.
Yeah. My second year, my 2 years in Wilkes-Barre, I was more of a defensive role. So I was, checking line center. I don't think I played any power play either year. I don't even know if I played a shift. So it was more definitely in that role, killing penalties and shutting the other team's top line down. And no, to be honest, in Wilkes-Barre, we had a kind of a group of young guys, and I'm not sure any of us really got a sniff then. There was a lot of the older guys, but our group that we came in with, I don't think anyone got a call those 2 years. Maybe I'm mistaken, but no, to be honest, I didn't really. You know what it's like when they call a guy up. The odd time they'll call up a checking line if they need a checking line, but most of the time it's the guy who's getting the points is going to go up anyway. You know what I mean? Like even if they're
even
the
whatever
fourth
role,
gets,
even if they need a fourth line winger. Yeah, no. Sometimes
yeah, you're gonna get.
I think it's got to make more sense now what they do, right? But who knows? Because
Yeah,
I like nowadays though, it's like if you're a top scorer in the AHL it's all very bizarre how they make some of the decisions in the AHL and the NHL of who goes up. But go ahead.
yeah, but no, I just didn't. We had a lot of good players there too, and like I said, I wasn't. I wasn't really on the offensive side of things, so I didn't really. I would have liked to get called up, but I never really. I didn't see. Most of the young guys weren't going up to the. I shouldn't say the young guys because everyone was pretty young, but like that crew that I came up with. So I never really felt that I was too close there. But
Okay.
when I went to Portland, I had Kevin Dineen there as a coach, and he was an awesome guy. He was really good, and he played me a ton, which was awesome. And I don't know, I never asked for anything, but I was probably a little bit closer there, maybe. But who knows? Because it
And
didn't
that's with
happen. It
Anaheim.
didn't happen in both places, so
Is that with Anaheim?
that was Anaheim's team, yeah.
So is that the same time, like say Joe Motzko and Mark Harding get traded there?
No, I think that would have been after them.
Okay.
Yeah. Maybe a year or two after they were there.
Okay, because that's when they got traded when I was in Syracuse. I was just trying to figure out where our
Yeah, I remember
timelines are.
that. So I think, I would have been the year, I believe the year, my first year was 06.
It's the year they won it, right?
Yeah, so I would have been the year, I believe the year after. Yeah, I came in the year after. Yeah.
Okay, so so that's the end of your entry level, they call it in the business. But anyways, I got one more question, I think, because we talked about Crosby and Mario. Well, we're there in the same organization. There's a lot of famous people, I guess. You were roommates? Were you not with Biz? Because I listened to Spit and Chicklets, so now I hear them talk about you still and like shaving stuff, right? Like, does that offend you now when they're talking about you shaving your chest hair or what?
No, geez, we had a lot of characters in Wilkes-Barre my 2 years there, like just a hilarious crew. And we lived my first year. It was me, Bissonette, and Carcillo. We lived in like a 3-bedroom kind of. I don't know, it was a pretty small place, but it was kind of one of those things where it's like you're 20 years old, and they're
dipping ketchup on everything.
Yeah, exactly. But no, it's like, here's your whatever, you're gonna be here. You guys go find a host. You're like, oh my gosh, you're looking around. Anyways, we ended up basically. I'm not gonna. It was kind of in a rough area of town. We didn't know any better. Anyways, we ended up in this 3-bedroom apartment, but we had so much fun. We had a lot of laughs and maybe too much fun. But no, it was even on that team. You look at the guys there. It was like Whitney was there. Whitney wasn't there the whole year, but Colby Armstrong. Like you see all these guys into that side of the things now, right?
But that's what's winning, right? Like winning does that. I think success does that, right? Because did they not win? But I guess not. Not really. That's not the Pens that won. They're just all different characters, eh?
Well, it was my rookie season in Wilkes-Barre. We had, I think we won it might have been a record. I think it was close to like 20 in a row or something. There was something crazy. Or 20 games without a regulation loss. Maybe 18. I can't remember. It was just a crazy streak we had on, and we were just having so much fun. It was just like it was like in the American League. It was just, I mean,
No, it's a circus. Yeah, if you get a night off, everybody was out back in the day.
that's what I mean. Even like the older guys and the whole team was. We just had a good group of guys that got along, and then Terrian was the coach, and he ended up the Pittsburgh coach got fired. He went up, and then he brought up a bunch of guys, and that's the thing with the American League. There's people coming and going all the time, right?
Oh yeah, it's not a team. Well, I mean, there's the staples, but it's not a team, man. You're not a team.
Oh, but it was like that first, 20 or whatever games is. It was pretty tight group, and then it was kind of after that, and people are coming and going all the time. And then you kind of realize, like, oh, this is kind of what it's all. This is how it's going to be, right? And that's what I noticed when I went to Europe. What I really like actually was it's kind of like, okay, here's your team. Let's
100%
come together. Yeah, like we're gonna build a good culture here. Like there's no tryouts, there's no, there's healthy competition, but there's no you're not fighting for, I don't know,
you're not. No, you're right. It's a team. Like you're the team, and you're gonna have internal competition on who's the top dog, who's gonna be the whipping boy, who's gonna get some PK time, who's gonna get the last minute when you're down a goal, who's gonna get it when you're up a goal. All of that's good, but you're a team, and you practice. It's not oh, the college season ended. Look at the 5 new boys getting changed in the shower. That was me. That was me.
Yeah, that must have been a weird feeling, eh?
Well, and you said you were at rookie camps and all that coming up. I had never been to a rookie camp. I had never been talked to by an NHL team, and then all of a sudden I was in an NHL training camp. But I left Western Michigan. I had never been around NHL pro at all, and then I'd go out for a warm up and the jersey's not there and you're just not playing. But then they're telling you to literally sit on a chair in the shower to get changed for practice. And you're like, I'm really not feeling like much part of the team here.
Yeah, it's such a weird dynamic, I guess, when all that stuff, especially when the college guy comes in.
Okay, so Europe's way better. So let's get into that, because you did make that decision, though. After your entry level, you make the decision to go to, I believe it was the Swedish Elite League, which is, in my opinion, I'd be making that decision too. That sounds like way more fun than the AHL. But what was Sweden like?
Sweden was awesome. Yeah, I love playing in Sweden. Brynäs was the first team I went to for 2 years there, and they were, at the time I was the only import guy, so I didn't know what to expect. And it was kind of because I got qualified by Anaheim, it was kind of like an off the whim type of thing. And I just got the call, my agent called about Sweden, and I was just kind of like, you know what? Yeah, okay. And then all of a sudden, this was into August. So it wasn't like I had it planned all summer. So it was into August. So I'm walking into they're already kind of in the flow of training camp as well. And
they're intense. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't think I would have had to went to rookie camp. So if I signed back, I was going to go to main camp. So I'm looking, getting ready for probably another month and a half or something. And then it's I'm on a plane going to Sweden. And I'll never forget when I got there, the shape of these guys. It was insane. They were doing the Cooper's test, I think it was 7.5 laps. I can't remember. And I remember my trainer was telling me or a trainer here was yeah, you know what? If you can get if you get 13, 14, I don't know, I forget what it was, 13, you'll be fine. And one guy got over 12 minutes. These guys were I went down, it was good. I flew in that morning and the GM was oh, you just flew all day. We're not going to make you run. We don't want to, you were sitting in the plane. I saw you. Just come down and watch the guys. I sat there. I was watching these guys. I was like, oh my God. Their off-ice training at the time was crazy. There was, here it was lift weights, ride the bikes, There they were doing a lot of running, I guess, because these guys were like hyenas. I was like, oh my God, thank God I did not have to do this test, because I would have been like, I didn't train to do this test, so it would have been ugly. But no, I just remember getting there, and I mean, these guys treated me so good. Like I said, I was the only import guy, and I was still 20, 23, 24, so still fairly young, right? And they took great care of me. There's, a few older guys there. Andreas Dackel used to play for the Sens there. They're in their probably late 30s at the time. And, just watching those guys every day. He had a pretty successful NHL career. And, these guys are back playing in their hometown. And I mean, the way they worked, and you don't realize how big hockey is in some of these towns in Sweden and stuff, and everywhere really. But, especially with the promotion, the teams can go up and down. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Oh.
I had no idea. I got there, every rink in Sweden, beautiful rinks, full, crazy fans. I'm like, man, this is I didn't really expect that at all. I didn't know what to expect, but I didn't expect it to be that big.
Yeah, I never played in Sweden, or really, like, I guess the top divisions, but like even the second league in Germany, man. Like, I went over there and they got fireworks going off in the crowd. There's like the riot police at every game, especially if you're playing like a derby game against a close rival. Like, it's insane in the crowd. No matter, like, it's just like, I figure it's just like European football or soccer. But it's in a hockey arena in Germany, at least, for sure. I don't know what it's like in Sweden in the crowd.
Yeah, no, it's I think it's that same atmosphere in all those countries, right? It's just, and it's funny, you get over there, you don't think anyone knows you.
Oh, I know.
But
I live
everybody
that way
knows you.
too. I live that way too. And when I look back on it now, I'm like, well, it really, they're pretty small towns, and like, you're the guy that doesn't speak German or Swedish, right?
Yeah,
So
they probably have you're coming in, they probably have it in the paper, and you're just going over thinking no one, like,
yeah,
you don't realize how big it is. And
no.
I remember I think it was in Sweden, someone was going to school close by, like a friend from home, and he came in, and I think it was, I don't know, it was maybe preseason, and we played Saturday, and maybe it was a Thursday night. We went for dinner and had probably, not many, few beers, just catching up, shooting the shit. His buddy from Canada, he's close, comes in. But yeah, the next day, one of the older, like, oh man, were you out last night? I said, no. I'm like, oh, were you drinking? I said, no, I went for dinner and I had, a few beers. Like, oh man, yeah, like, someone saw you having a beer. People are saying you were out drinking, going to the club. I'm like, no, I went for dinner at like 6:00. But you just don't, oblivious to how big the hockey is. At least when I first went there.
Yeah, you definitely like to have like drinks out in public, man. And like in Europe, it's like yeah.
I
And then
didn't
like
know.
it's
Yeah,
nuts. Yeah, it's nuts. And then you go to Wales and it's a completely different culture, right?
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Or it
like,
was. I guess it's changed now. The game's changed, right? You were telling me all the boys are soft now when I went over for Wally night. I think I remember you telling me that the game's changed.
well, I think everywhere it's kind of like that a bit, right? It's,
Yeah.
you know,
Hmm.
kind of, but I mean, it's the
Hey,
same thing.
hey, hold on, hold on. Whoa, I totally forgot a whole segment of my show.
Okay.
Where are you now and what are you doing now?
I'm uh I'm in Halifax, Nova Scotia. And to be honest, I'm not doing well, I'm staying busy, but I mean, I was going to go back. I signed to go back to Cardiff and play, and then, obviously the season got canceled. So, uh, yeah, I was kind of waiting around a bit, and then all of a sudden, I waited. I can't remember when they officially canceled the season, but, I was, I was looking forward to going back to Cardiff, and, was hoping they'd have a season. I was waiting around, and then, all of a sudden you're kind of into November, December, and I had a few things pop up and a few places to go play. And then I don't know, one of those things. We were so lucky here in Nova Scotia as well with the COVID, especially throughout the winter, that life was pretty normal here for the most part. We had the numbers low and the rinks were open, everything was open. So yeah, it just kind of got to that point, and then it was. I mean, you get into Christmas, it's like, well,
Well, that's what I was gonna say. It's got to be
yeah,
because I know my first year home, like I was a bit. It was, you're out of hockey for the first year, and it's a big adjustment. But like being home for Christmas and like the events, that's got had to have been nice this year, eh? Even
well,
if
yeah,
you can't really do much, though, can you?
yeah. No, that was the other part of it. It was, obviously I wanted to play and miss playing. Still want to play all that, but being home for Christmas and people's birthdays and stuff you're never, Thanksgiving, stuff like that you're never home for is pretty, it's pretty. I mean, I would have rather been playing hockey, but it was pretty, pretty cool to be home for that. And I mean, really move away. I think I moved away when I was 16 to go play. I'm 35 now. It's like, this is my first Christmas home in, almost 20 years. So it's kind of a weird feeling, but at the same time, I just kind of looked at it as a positive and, enjoy time with friends and family that, you don't really get to that often, right?
Yeah, no, I agree, and I like your outlook on it because I know it's hard on a lot of guys, and you can either look at it one way or the other way, and that sounds like a good way of looking at it because it's been tough for everybody. But, huh?
Yeah. So yeah, you can't do much, it's just
No.
roll with the punches.
Okay, so back on track now. We were in Brenus. Now you go there for 2 years, and I think we had talked about it. So now you make the decision to go to Amur Khabarovsk.
Oh, that was good.
Not bad, eh?
Yeah. So yeah, it was yeah, I ended up going over to Russia in the KHL there and that kind of happened. I was actually kind of wanting to go back and play in North America actually after those couple years in Sweden. And
And you
yeah,
had good years, eh? Like you had a 20-goal year in the Swedish Elite League. That's why I actually had that. I don't know if it's on my notes, but it was in my brain was that you had to have had a bigger decision there, whether or not maybe you're going back on like a two-way with a big AHL deal or like just a big Russian deal, right?
yeah, there was some talk yet about going back. And I mean, it was just kind of back and forth a bit. But at the same time, I mean, the Russian Russian camps and everything, and their season starts early, right? So I
You got to
had
make
to
those decisions early,
I
don't
had
you?
to make that decision. I was just kind of humming it. There was talk over here, obviously, but not. You
Uh,
didn't have a
talks
yeah,
talk, right?
yeah, talk, and maybe something would have got done, but when the Russians are calling, they want to know. So I just kind of the one good thing with a guy David Ling from out east here, he's a good fella. He was the captain of the team over there. So that was, going over and having another Maritimer there was, definitely was a kind of a big drawing point and a lot easier transition for me. But I went over there and it was, yeah, it was. This is a great city. Crazy hockey fans there too. I mean, the team there always is not very good. Like they don't. Maybe they've won the playoffs once in like the history of the team, but the fans are crazy hockey fans. You would never guess it. But I mean, the flights were. I didn't really. I looked at the maps. It's pretty far. It looks like it's pretty far away. Man, you get over there. It was the flight to Moscow was like 7-8 hours or something. I think it was the same distance from Halifax to Moscow than Moscow to this place.
So
Really, like it was over like 6,000 kilometers or something. It was crazy. It was
so
crazy.
there's some hour changes involved there, eh?
Yeah, there was like 7 time zones. I think he flew over, going back and forth. And this is before the next time I went back. They had the league. You play 4 games at home, 4 away. So it'd be like every second day, and then you'd have a couple days off. Then you'd hit the road, and like teams kind of traveled in groups, kind of. The schedule there's good now, but this was before that, so it'd be like you could fly in, play maybe like one game in Moscow, one or two, and then you're going everywhere. You were just jet lagged the whole season. You were just, it was pretty weird feeling. But hockey wise, and I had a lot of fun there. We had, same thing. We had great imports: Brett Skinner, Jan Denny, Linger. Like we had a great time, But it's definitely challenging. By the end of the year, you're pretty worn down.
So you have to live in like the Basa or whatever it's called,
Basa.
right? Basa. So that's like it's like a kind of like a hotel, kind of like a barracks type thing, right?
Yeah. So there's the one we had there was pretty nice. It was like a nice hotel, but I've heard some of them are like basically like the army type of things. But this one there, the guys thought I was crazy. My buddy Skinner, I'd be like, man, I love the Basa. Like, what do you mean? Man, I love hotel rooms. You go in there, you relax, you get room service. Oh, he's great. He's like, yeah, you're crazy, man. I didn't mind. Like, that's why I actually didn't mind Russia at all. Like, I had, I didn't do bad over there. Like, I don't know, just kind of rolled with everything where, like, some people hated that thing. You had to stay at the hotel the night before. I kind of liked it. I was like,
Some people can. I think there's some people though that can roll with the punches better than others. You know what I mean?
could be it. Yeah.
I think there's just but like it's not for everyone. Like the song I always play at the start of an episode. I'm not for everyone. The Bays is not for everyone, or the Basa or whatever the hell it's called. Right? It's not for everyone.
Yeah, no, but I think there are a lot of teams. I shouldn't say that, but I know when I went to Yaroslavl, they were starting to get away from it a bit, and in Ugra they were getting away from it a bit, but
Is that right, eh? Okay.
I'm not sure what it is now. But
okay, so you didn't mind that season. You mentioned a few of the guys that were there. So then I guess the other guys we've had on were from a different team and they had like a mob boss. You don't have any like cool stories about like being run by the mob because you're probably not run by the mob because you're not making the playoffs, right?
yeah, they were probably in what was it, Vitas, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Chekhov.
Vitas, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard some stories about there. I think my buddy Walser or Derek Walser was there as well. But no, I don't. I think our team out there, to be honest, I never really saw any of that, like the mob stuff at all. To be honest, like I never.
Did you have a translator that drove you around and all that?
Yeah, we had two of them in Khabarovsk. Sabers, we used to call another guy Arkady. Then we had one in Yaroslavl. And then I'm trying to think in Ugra, we had the assistant coach was, but then he left actually, and then there was kind of like no translator. So it was that year when I went to Ugra, I used to laugh. It's like, man, if I didn't want to talk to anybody or like zone out all day, I could do it because I didn't have to listen really. So
yeah, right. Yeah. It's like when I first went to Germany. When I first went to Germany, the coach didn't say anything in English. Everything was in German and I didn't know any German. So I just sat there and I was like, so what now? And they'd be like,
go in the back of the line and watch.
Yeah. And then in the games, I'm like, do I need to know something? They'd be like, nope, just go play. Okay. Next question. So you go you said some of the names. So you were at Brinas and then you're at Amur Khabarovsk. Now you're going to Asat, Finland.
Yeah, that's made with Caldi there in Finland.
Is he in Asat? Or is he's in both?
He was in Asat.
I thought he was in Tapera.
No, I was with him in Asat. Then he went to Luco, I think, after that.
Okay, so he's in Asat. These names are awesome. I love it. So you're there for Finland in 2 years, and my notes here, my research team, all I have a dash is it says big years points. So it sounds like you did good.
Yeah, no, you know what, we had our coach there was awesome. He Chippy was the name, and he we had a really good power play. And I ended up clicking pretty good with this Slovakian guy, Thomas Zaborski, and I was playing centers with him, and we had some really good wingers, Savanine and Radek Smolnak. We had, and then anyways, we had a great power play both years I was there. It seemed like we just clicked pretty good. Like our power play was off the charts, and we were all putting up pretty big numbers, which was good. I mean, a lot of us ended up, getting back over to Russia after those 2 seasons there in Assets. So it was just a great hockey town, and like I said, we had a real good group of import guys: Caldwell, Mark Lee, Etman, Heshka, Sean Heshka. So we had a lot of fun.
Yeah, no, he if you go over there and like the imports you don't totally mesh with, it changes your year drastically compared to if you go over with Caldwell. And he raved
Oh,
about this Mark Lee fella too, and he said maybe
oh
he
yeah,
would come on the pod. And I said, well, hey, I'm ready to get to know all these people, because if you guys are both saying he's a beauty, I would be
yeah.
more than happy to get to know him via Zoom here in the pandemic, because I think this is like having a year like that over in Finland must have just been like it. That's living, is when you have a bunch of guys, you're all kind of like family, and you stay family after a year like that, right?
Oh yeah, and even both years, I remember my parents would come over, and we'd have. There was a lot of the imports on the other teams we were all buddies with too. Tyler Redenbach. There was a whole crew of them. So my parents would always come over for Christmas, and every Christmas we'd have the Christmas party for all the imports. So it would be everyone. Skinner, the guy I was talking before. But anyways, a bunch of guys, the guys we knew, they'd all drive up to Asset there, Pori it's called. And we'd have this this massive Christmas bash, or just fun being, with your buddies like that in a different country with a different culture. I don't know. It was just a lot of fun.
I know. Like
Yeah.
for me, when yeah, and when you're having success too, right? But like, anyways, go. So you go from now you were in Assat with Caldy, is that right?
Yeah.
Asset. So that you did 2 years there, and you did really well. So now you're going to Lokomotiv Yaroslavl and
Yeah.
Yugra Conti Mansk.
Yeah. That's good.
That's what Elite Prospects told me, man. So that's back to Russia. So what's that like what's that, 2 years there?
Yeah. So I finished the year there in Yaroslavl. And was Mark Flood with you in
Yep, absolutely. And before we get to that, because I believe he may be a Maritimer too, is this episode is brought to you by Plumbers Golf. www.plumbersgolf.com. Put in your code 2ales20 for 20% off your next order. And yeah, Mark Flood, I love that guy. He was what, like, why do I like Maritimers so much? I like all of them. Every guy you bring up, I did. They're awesome.
Yeah, good guys out here.
Yeah, Flutter was in Syracuse and Dayton kind of right when I was breaking in, but then he got traded, and we were only in a hotel together for about a month, but yeah, like we hit it off. I really enjoyed his company.
Oh yeah, he was great. So he was in Yaroslavl when I went there. We had an American coach, Tom Rowe, but yeah, that was pretty cool. I got to, that was the team that had the terrible the plane crash there, and so they ended up they sat out for a year, and then this was kind of their first year back.
That's when you and Flutter are there?
Yeah. So it was, and Tom Rowe was the coach from American coach, and yeah, he was a great guy. Curtis Sanford, Nicholas Hagman. There's Cronwall. There's a lot of really good guys there, and but yeah, it was pretty cool to just just having the hockey back and seeing how much it meant to that that city, and it was obviously pretty sad as well, right, with what happened. But yeah, we ended up losing the first round though, and I ended up going. I think they had an option, or yeah, they had an option to bring me back the next year. So luckily they signed me back for another year, and I went back, and yeah, it was we started off slow, and the coach got fired about 3 games in, and that was kind of the end of me as well. Really, it was about I was healthy to a few games, and then
As soon as the new
you're
coach
just
comes
kind of
in,
playing
then
fourth line.
yeah. So is
Well,
the new
yeah,
coach is the new coach Canadian?
No, he was a Russian guy, but no, it wasn't even it wasn't even that. It was just there's a lot of pressure to win over there. It's and if you have a bad game or a couple bad games, it's you could be out. Like they they hire and fire pretty quick, so it was pretty quick transition, and then obviously I wasn't fitting in the plans, and so then I went to ended up going to Ugra, and yeah, this was a weird little. I shouldn't say weird. It was actually a really nice city, but it was in the middle of Siberia, and but same thing. They had great facilities. It wasn't a big city at all. It was more of a town, but it was it had a nice apartment, nice rink. Everything was pretty nice there. It was kind of there's a lot of oil around it, I guess. So I mean, you go out for suppers, and you could hear a lot of people. Not that I talked to them or knew them, but I think there was a lot of people in the oil industry that were, from Westerners that would be there from Europe or North Americans, and you could hear people all around you speaking English. It was kind of a weird thing, but.
So when you're at those restaurants with those, I'm assuming they're quite impressive people in the oil industry. Are you dipping everything
I
in
don't know if
ketchup?
they were or
Are
not.
you dipping everything in ketchup?
Oh, of course, yeah, of course. Can't eat it without it.
I love it. That's fantastic. Um,
You like the ketchup?
no, I'm into food, and I just can't imagine. I can't. Sorry.
You don't ketchup on much?
I try not to. If I do, I put in sriracha with it and stir it up to make
Okay.
spicy ketchup. I can't just do it plain.
Fancy ketchup. Fancy ketchup.
I guess so. I don't know. I can't just do it, man. That's wrong. So any other good Russian stories? So like, as far as like getting paid and getting your money out of there, like you were probably not at the start when I heard some real crazy stories that I don't really have on the pod yet, but you were probably at the point now where guys are usually getting their money. Is that right?
Yeah, I think like talking from some like buddies that were playing there for a long time. I think it was, when they went from the Russian, used to be the Russian Super League, and yeah, you hear some crazy stories from there. But I think when they went to the KHL, and this, I mean, I think they tried to, and I think now it's pretty, it's good, but they tried to wanted to clean it up and make sure, guys are, getting their money and stuff. But I mean, I never saw the paper, you hear the stories about the paper bags and the all cash, but no, I was always, we always had the, our same as you get paid in Cardiff or anywhere else, right? Is you have your bank account and it gets put in there. So I never saw any of that. I mean, I would find that very entertaining though. Like I would mind, I would have liked to have been around for that, that type of
Yeah, it
stuff.
sounds exciting, right?
But you hear, even when I was there, I didn't see it, but you heard of a few teams that were still, kind of operating like that. But I mean, I didn't see too much of it, but I mean, it's definitely a culture shock, right? It's it's a different world over there, but I never had like a real bad experience there. The people were nice to me and treated me good, and guys on the team, even the Russian guys that didn't speak the best English, were all super nice. So
Okay, next I got a question just off the top of my head here since we're on the topic, kinda. Is one foodie to another. What was your culinary experience like in Russia? How was the food?
the food was, I mean, the restaurants were actually really good. Some, most, you get into some of these cities, and they had the menus were like pretty extensive. Like there's a lot of, they had every type of different, they had the sushi and the whatever you want, Italian, this is a, but no, I didn't mind. I used to like that, the borscht, I think it was called, the soup they used to, it's kind of like a beet soup. I used to like that. I didn't have too much problem with the food either, to be honest.
Oh,
And
you
there's a
see,
lot of nice restaurants because I mean, I'm guessing it's the rich people there that open the restaurants, so they want to have, some of the best stuff. I guess I don't know, but yeah, I didn't. Some of the better meals I had were actually over at some of those places.
okay. Well, no, you probably at the nicer restaurants than.
But
Um,
everything's super affordable there too, right? So
right. Yeah.
you can
No.
go to a nice restaurant
It
and have a
it
good meal for very affordable.
it really sounds interesting to me. I kind of wish I would have played over there because this all sounds very interesting to me. I wish I would have had that life experience.
I,
It's pretty
you
cool
know
you
what?
got that.
I wish I would have played better when I was there, so I could have stayed longer. But I did. Didn't
Yeah,
work
them's
that
the
way.
breaks. Don't we all?
Yeah.
Okay, so I think we were in Yugra, Kanti, Mansk, and now we're moving on to Luleå in the Swedish Elite League again. So, I mean, as far as careers go, you're just having your time between the top leagues in Europe, eh? Just having a hoot while I'm toiling away in the second league in Germany. So I'm glad you're having a hoot. So what's the Swedish Elite League net like now?
Yeah,
Again, right? Aren't you back now? Weren't you already there? I can't even keep track.
yeah. I went back. I went back to Luleå and yeah,
Luleå? Luleå?
Luleå it's called. Yeah, so that was a city up north, um, like northern Sweden, and yeah, I don't. We had we started off with Champions League, and I did we did pretty good throughout that, but yeah, you know things things didn't pan out too well in Luleå, but I actually ended up I had a slow start, then I had a wrist injury, which was kind of just a nagging thing where I didn't even really know.
You just couldn't play as good, but you could play.
No, but yeah, and I tried, but it was more like just a tendon thing. So I missed a bit of time, dealing with that, and it's one of those things. It's like when I feel like being there. It's when the hockey's going good. It's like, oh, this is a great place. Everything's going good. I mean, when the hockey's not going good, and you're hurt, and then you're there, you're like, oh, this is not going good. So you kind of get to a point. The team was we were kind of underachieving, I think, and we ended up just I think both sides kind of just wanted to kind of put an end to it, which was probably better for both. And then we I was lucky enough. I got picked up by. I was happy to go to Tapra, which was it's a great city in Finland. I was super happy to go there. It's called Tampere. The team's Tapra, kind of like a tongue twister, but
Yeah, I was gonna say Tapper is what I wrote down.
yeah, Tapra is the team, Tampere is the city. So it's kind of strange. So I was lucky because I was on a 2-year deal. So I was really lucky that not lucky, but like happy that Tapra picked up the rest of the deal because yeah, it would have been a long 2 years in Luleå the way things were going. I don't think wasn't going so well. But that being said, we had great guys there. These Abbott twins were there. They're actually the coaching in another team now, Rogla. I think one's coach, one's the president.
Are you serious?
Yeah, they got.
So do you know what they are to me? They
that?
are the twins that junior beat Game 7, my year where I'm like really good right before I go to college, break the scoring record or whatever for my team. We lost to them in Game 7 of the finals. And then I had to watch them go to the Swedish Elite League after they beat me in Game 7 and have wonderful careers. And I was toiling in the second league in Germany. And now you're telling me one's the president and one's the coach of a team? Well, guess what, Abbott twins? I got a podcast, so whatever. And guess what? It's sponsored by plumbersgolf.com. And you can get 20% off your next order with the code 2ales20. So, Abbott twins, guess who won? Wally. Right?
Yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry, Abbott twins. Yeah, sure. Go ahead. Talk about them.
No, I was just saying they were.
Yeah, good guys. Great day. Work hard. Love the game. Okay, so you were in where? Tapera.
Yeah, so that was an awesome city. That was we
don't talk about Luleå ever again. We're done. We're done. Sutherland Cup should have been mine. No, I'm just kidding. I got a podcast. I'm happy. I'm just kidding, Abbott twins. You guys are fine.
Yeah, I didn't do too well up there either, so I'm trying to forget about it too. But then going to Finland was Tappara was. I mean, hockey wise, I didn't actually put up too many numbers, but we were able to win a championship, and I actually had a group. When I was in Pori, I used to nights off. I'd always go up to Tampere, and I got to meet through a bunch of mutual friends. I had a lot of friends in the city outside of hockey. So when I got Tappara picked me up, it was actually awesome because I knew a lot of people and had some good buddies, guys I still talk to. Still today I talk to them.
You're talking to the dudes like outside of hockey from Tappara? You weren't even playing for them yet?
Well, no, I met them.
Pardon me?
No, I met them when I was in Pori, and then when I went, so this town was like an hour from where I used to play, and then when I went from Luleå to Tappara, it was this city. So I had a bunch of friends that I already knew before. So I had friends away from the rink, I should say. So it was nice. I knew a lot of people in the town, and I mean, even at the end, I wasn't playing so much, so I was, kind of enjoying myself as well. And it was nice to get away from the game and have people, just that release. Not release, I should say, but like just that separation from.
You need, especially when things are. Yeah, you need people outside of hockey. It can't all just be hockey all the time. You got to do other things.
Exactly. So yeah, when I went there, I was happy to go there, and I loved I had a great 2 years there. Like I said, the hockey personally didn't go the way I wanted, but I mean, looking back, it'd be one of the better years I've had. Just winning a championship, you can never replace that, right? And a lot of fun too away from the rink, so it was good.
So that's when you won it. That's when you won it. You won the championship
in Tappara, yeah, my second year there.
And how big of a city is that, and what are the celebrations like? Because Finnish guys, everybody's different from wherever they come from and their backgrounds.
Finnish guys are animals.
They're Finnish fellas, like they got one gear and she's pedal to the metal, and like holy moly, they get after it.
It was incredible. It was like the party we had after it was. I remember we won. I think we did. I can't remember how many nights we did there. And the big thing in Finland too is they have the fine fund as well. So I mean, you get fined for every little thing, just so the boys can have the end of the year trip. That was like everyone lived for the end of the year trip, especially the older guys on the team. You don't see much. I mean, they're around because they do team events all the time, team parties. But I mean, these guys live for this end of the year trip.
Well,
It was incredible.
that's like the guys with kids and wives and everything. Like they save up all the nights out all year for that one trip at the end of the year. And I get it. I'm at this stage now, and I was in that stage in Cardiff. I get it now. I totally get it.
I had yeah, but the parade, they had a whole, basically like the parade and the talk and we'd go I don't know how many people were outside for, we were giving the speeches and had the trophy there type of thing. It was crazy. It was mayhem. I don't know how big the city would be. I'd say maybe like 300,000, maybe a bit more.
Okay.
Maybe wrong. But so for the parade, there's thousands of people there. It was crazy. It was crazy.
Yeah, no, that's nuts, man. And you got to experience that. And that, so you're probably what, about no, high 20s at that age or so, maybe? No, about
Yeah, I
that.
think it would have been like 20. It would have been probably 28, 29. So yeah,
So,
high 20.
yeah, you still would have been having a pretty good time at a parade, I would assume. Um,
Oh, yes. And then, like I said, they have that fine fund, so we save up the money for a trip at the end of the year. And I think team was kicking in a little bit for if you win the playoff round, this and that. So we ended up going on I think went to Spain for like 3 or 4 days just from the team money that we all got for leaving your sandals out or
where'd you go?
stupid.
Mallorca?
No, it was I think it was Madrid, Spain.
Oh, really? That'd be
Yeah.
hard to corral
But
everybody.
yeah, it was weird because it was off season too. And it's actually a city. I thought Spain, we're going to a beach. So
Right.
I had
Like
like,
that's what Mallorca is. That's why I thought you'd go there. That's where all the hockey teams go. It sounds
yeah, for some
confusing.
reason
You
we
went
went
to a
to
city.
Madrid.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had like tank tops and a bathing suit and flip flops. And I got there, I was in a city and it wasn't even that warm. I was like, crazy. But yeah, speaking about the Finnish guys, I remember one of the older guys, he said to his wife, and he was a good guy. Didn't see him much all year. It was kind of like, all right, well, I'll see you, I'll see you in a couple weeks or a week or whatever it was, 2 weeks. But we were only gone 3, but that was at the end of the year, that was his time to party, right? So he ripped her up there for 4 or 5 days, went to Spain, got back, kept it going. But that's just, it's like that's their time, right?
Well, and the thing is like when you play overseas and you see the fans and you see the pressures of winning games and losing games, and then these guys that have been living that way through the whole thing, like we come over there, some guys are like on vacation and really don't even care, where some guys like really care, and these guys like that, they live and breathe it. That's like, and that's what a lot of us are. But then there's some guys that go over there and they're just on vacation, right?
Yep.
But like these guys, you go through all that stress all year, it's finally over, like let's go to Mallorca, like let's hit the beach. And I
Go
was
crazy.
invited to a few of those, but I was flying back and I missed them. And it wasn't until my final year actually that I really went on one, and that was with Cardiff. We went to the Alps of France for
Oh, that'd be
yeah, we went for some bachelor parties, and it was a good time. That was anywho. Yeah, no, I know all about the year-end parties, except I'd see the pictures and all the other stuff of what would go on, and those boys would really let loose after all the stress, eh?
Oh man, yeah, it was. And the other thing in those countries too, like when it's not English, you can't even read the newspaper. You can't like I don't read the paper. I can't listen to what they're saying about me. They could be like, Dixon's the piece of shit. Blah blah. I'd be like, oh yeah, good to see you, buddy. They got to hear everything. They're hearing it from the people.
Yeah.
Especially if you're a local guy, right? Like those a lot of people like live and breathe for the local team, right? So.
Well, and some of their hockey knowledge maybe isn't quite where it needs to be for their opinions, and what exactly they should be saying to people. Sometimes in Europe, it can get frustrating when they really, really don't like you. But let's move on to more positive notes. And so, who is this Mark Lee character? Because all I have written down from Caldy is that I need to have him on the podcast, and he was with you a bunch, and he was also in Tapera with you. So, who is this character, and like, what did you guys get up to in Tapera?
Yeah, he was playing. So there's two teams in the city actually. There's another team, Elvis, and yeah. I think they're building a new rink now, but there's two teams that play out of the same rink, which is pretty crazy.
Yeah, that's pretty weird.
But for a city, I got to look up how many people are. But for a city, I'm guessing there's like 300,000. You've got two pro teams playing out of the same rink, both with your own section, like separate fans. It's like the city people like one team, and then I guess it's so
It's like the
what
White Sox and Cubs, but they play out of the same stadium.
exactly. And there's 300,000 people, and both teams get really good fans. It's hard to understand.
It's kind of
But
like
anyway, I mean, what's that?
it's like Sunderjyski in Denmark, where it's a town of it's a town of 3,000 people, and they have a 5,000 seat arena that's full every night.
Crazy, eh?
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. When you add
No,
up the
so
numbers, it doesn't make sense.
no, some of these places I just don't understand. I don't understand. Basically, the whole town's out for the game.
Yeah. Um. So,
And
anyways,
name,
I guess. So, anyways, whoever Mark Lee is, you'll have to come on and
but yeah,
tell me who you are, because I just still don't know. But these two fellas rave about you.
yeah, Leezy, so he's so he's a good newfie boy. And then, anyways, we used to meet up quite a bit. We kind of, I mean, if we've only played together for a brief period, but if we kind of the same with college. If we had the same days off or something, we'd usually meet somewhere and get in trouble, do crazy shit.
Nah, that sounds fun. Like if you don't have guys like that on that team, it's a whole different year, right?
Yeah, no, it was all fun though. It was a good laugh. It was like what Caldy's like. Everyone's good humor.
Oh yeah, no, that guy, him and Andy Canzanello were the two guys in Syracuse that, and like Darcy Verreau, who I had on, they were like a guy coming out of college that like really doesn't know what's up or down or anything, like never been to a rookie camp, never been around any of this stuff, and like they were the ones who were like, hey, like, do you want to like come eat lunch with us?
Yeah.
So
You know,
you never forget that stuff, right? Like Andy
that,
Canzanello was the first guy that was like, "Do you want to come eat Chipotle?" And I was like, "Do you have any idea how much I love Chipotle?"
oh, it's good.
Okay, so you go from Tapera, where you win a championship, which that's awesome that you win a championship in Finland. That's like, man, that's their Stanley Cup. Like we talk about the World Championships and all that. Like nobody in Canada, the US understand how hard these teams try to win these leagues. Like they figure out how to have the biggest budget they can possibly have, and they do the best they possibly can every year. And for each team, that's a different level of success, right? But
Mhm.
like they try to win so bad, right? Like they do everything they can, and that's their Stanley Cup, and you won that.
Yeah, it was just the atmosphere of those games is probably some of the craziest hockey I think I played going in, especially we lost game 7 of the finals the year before to Team Carpat, and we ended up playing them in the semis my second year and beat them in game 7. That was one of the most draining series I've ever been in. It was just we were pretty banged up by the end of it, and went down 2-0 in the finals, and then just I don't know what happened. It was sometimes stuff just clicks, and we came back and won 4 straight, which was you look at it's crazy when you're a playoff series. And it's like you get to overtime and they can come down and hit the post, or I mean, it's such small margins when you get into the semifinals and finals in any league, right? It's
And it can
crazy
change.
to think of.
It can change your whole life. Like it really can. Like how small, like the difference is. It can change. Like if you win and you lose. When you win, I personally think like contracts in Europe and all that. Like the lot has to be said about points, but like winning, I think, is more important, is because when you win, every team is like, well, why is this team winning? And they look at the third line, they look at the second line, they look at the first line, they look at the fourth line, and they're like, well, this is why they're winning. Like it's not, it's not just points. It's especially in Europe or NHL everywhere is like winning gets contracts, winning gets people paid, in my opinion, right? Or it should at least.
I think so. I think as well. There comes a point too. It's at at some point you got to put up your points as well. But it's not like you said. If when you win a championship, it goes good for every guy on the team, right? And even personally, you look back on years. It's looking back, you don't look on the the years you had good numbers, and you could have good numbers and not make the playoffs. I mean, you look back when you won the championship and got to celebrate and all that stuff. So,
Oh yeah, no, winning is what it's all about, right? So anyways, then I don't think you've been even like, so we're all the way to, I don't know what year of your career here, but we've now gone from Tapera and winning it to now you're somewhat close to my level. You're now getting to Germany, but you're not to
Germany.
the second league. You're in the first league. So we're almost to Cardiff. Um, so Wolfsburg, 2 years. Um, what's that like?
Wolfsburg was, we had a pretty, I think there's the DEL. There's a big gap, I think, with certain budgets between the top teams and the bottom teams. And Wolfsburg was maybe
Middle?
middle, maybe down, uh, not close to those top teams.
Yeah.
But they made the finals the year before, and we just had like a kind of a gritty team, and some skilled guys, but teams I don't think wanted to come to play in Wolfsburg, right? It was kind of a dark rink, and it was the team was everyone just worked really hard. And yeah, we made it to the finals that year again, and
You went to the finals that year too?
my my first year, yeah.
Holy cow, man.
Wasn't we? But we ended up against Red Bull Munich, and they had a really good team, and they were kind of the team there. We kind of overachieved every year a bit, and we had a great coach, Pavel. He's in Mannheim now. But no, I enjoyed.
What's his name?
Pavel Gross, his name was.
Okay.
Really good. But the thing I liked about Germany, and he was probably one of the toughest coaches I had, like demanding wise, in terms of training and like the tempo of practice and like what he expected of the guys. But he was also like, he loved when the boys got together and drank beers. Like he really, like, after every game, I'm sure it was like that when you were in Germany. After every game, if we didn't have beers on the bus with the guys, we could have lost 5-1. And if we're all not sitting and having beers, he thinks maybe he was all about the team chemistry. So he liked when the guys were together drinking beers, nothing crazy. And even, we had those, what were those dressing room parties they used to call them?
Kabina
You know,
Fest.
Cabina Fest.
Oh, dude, I'll never forget Cabina Fest. They're my
Love
favorite thing
Cabina
in the
Fest.
world.
Yeah, so it was like, they had little sections like you get this many points to be Cabina Fest.
Oh,
So we had Cabina Fest, we were doing kind of stuff like that all the time, but you knew, the next day was going to be hard.
okay. Well, so since we have a sponsor today, and we're out in the East Coast, which is plumbersgolf.com. 2ales20 is the promo code, but we better tell everybody what a Cabina Fest is. So I'd like to know what it's like in Wolfsburg in the first league, because in the second league, we're all making like not very much money. We're living, we're having fun, and all's good. But a Cabina Fest to us was like you and another guy. I only did this on a couple teams, and I tell you, those were the teams that had the most success. But you would pick out a meal. I said this on one other podcast, is you pick out a meal after practice. That food is basically ready to come in the room. You got cases of beer. Everybody sits in the room, eats the food, drinks the beer, and then it is basically a mandatory, we're going elsewhere from here after the Cabina Fest is a locker room party, is the English version of that, folks. So it is quite the evening, and you got to pick your spots at the right time, but some of those nights are quite memorable in my mind.
Oh yeah, I used to love them. You'd come in, and the thing with I can't remember how, I don't know if the Cabina Fests were necessarily planned. I think it was more kind of the coaches doing it, and
See,
you get
this
off
is
the ring.
different in the first league. This is where it's different. This was us spending our own
I mean,
money.
I'm
Yeah.
trying to think. But I remember it was kind of more of a surprise. You'd get in and be like, oh, Cabina Fest, and there'd be food there and a bunch of beer, and yeah, you just sit around and slam it back. So it was, I don't know, it was a lot of fun, but at the same time, we knew it wasn't. We usually didn't get a day off the next day, so it was like, they're gonna make you sweat it out.
Yeah, it's probably though doing this fun stuff. It's probably a little different than the AHL, right?
Oh yeah, yeah, exactly.
Okay, so then you do the Cabina Fest, you do Wolfsburg, and you went to the finals with I would say a budget like that. That's very impressive, and you guys must have been like rock stars around that place after doing that.
Yeah, it was. It was. You know what? Wolfsburg was kind of a. It's kind of a. I mean, the city itself. That's where they make the Volkswagens, right? So it's the Volkswagen plants there, and they have their soccer team or football team, however you want to call it. But
It's right on the
the
highway, right? The weird
yeah,
looking building.
yeah. So I mean, that's huge in the city, and the female soccer team is big too. And I think they had a basketball team in Braunschweig. But anyways, with Wolfsburg, the hockey, there was a group of diehard fans, but it wasn't it wasn't as big as say like Mannheim. Like you go into that's a crazy hockey city where Wolfsburg there was it was sometimes, especially early in the season, you weren't necessarily playing in front of a packed house, but there was great loyal fans, but it wasn't so big, I think, in the city. You could kind of go around and not too many people would. It was kind of a different
Yeah.
feel, I think. Not too many
Well,
people knew you were, and it wasn't a huge city. It was a lot of people during the week. It was kind of weird. During the week, everyone would be in Wolfsburg working at like the plant or stuff to do through that. But on the weekends, it was almost like kind of dead. It was kind of like
they
everyone
they'd go
left.
home or whatever, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it was kind of like just a spot to drop in. But when the soccer team played, there's like 40,000 fans there. So I don't know where they came from, but they didn't make
Uh,
it over to the rink very often. But
yeah, the soccer over there is completely nuts. Um,
crazy.
So, can du sprechen ein bisschen Deutsch?
No,
Okay,
no,
just
I don't know
just
much.
no. You were only there. You were there a very brief time. I
Okay. You were there? How long?
way too like long, 6 years.
6 year, yeah.
But like, it's not
Pretty,
just I was in
wow.
the first league. I was in the second league where there's not many imports and like you hang out with the Germans. But anyways, next question then is so you do the 2 years in Germany and now this is actually why I'm so thankful that I have my MBA. The Cardiff Devils actually recruited me somewhat, and I actually asked them to take me somewhat. Is that I got my MBA from them, but then about I'd say 3-4 years later, I was like, geez, thank goodness I got me at my MBA because now they're getting players like Steven Dixon to get MBAs, and they would have never taken me.
Oh God.
Seriously though, like look at your resume. I hadn't been out of the second league in Germany, or actually in Denmark I did good, which that's Denmark. You're not even close to those leagues,
That's
but
good.
they're taking you for an MBA and they took me for an MBA a few years earlier. So I would say Steve King and Todd Kelman, 2.3% of the team, like Todd said in that text there, that like that's not a bad deal there, I would say. But anyways, go ahead. How was your time in Cardiff?
Oh, I absolutely love Cardiff. It's you know, I went there. I had a good friend, Stu McCrae, from I played with junior Cape Breton boy. Anyways,
I've heard
like I
lots
said,
about him. He must be a Maritimer because everybody has
uh,
everything good to say about the Maritimers. It's wild. It is wild.
we all kind of stick together. We all talk each other up a bit too, right?
That's true. You got to stay in a pack, right?
Right. But no, I was talking with him and Joey Haddad too before I came, and for me, being able to do that MBA was pretty incredible, right? I mean, there's not too many opportunities, which I don't think people, you know, I just don't see why people wouldn't do it, to be honest. But
I totally agree. Um, it's like when you've been that hockey player, and like this is embarrassing to say, but like when you were through your 20s and you're that hockey player in Europe, which you might have been too, but like you were lazy. You finished practice and like you said, you were napping, I was napping. We were both napping and like we could have been doing stuff. We could have been taking courses, we could have been doing stuff. And that year kind of like kicks you in the butt and is like
exactly, yeah.
like grow up. Like grow up. Come
Yeah.
on, man.
Well, then you kind of get the feel, and it's like, all of a sudden, at least for me, you're kind of. I was actually thinking of doing it a couple years before that, actually.
Just on
Just
your own.
well, no, I wanted to go to the UK. I was thinking like, for me, it was kind of like, geez, what if that's a great opportunity there. And it wasn't even like I was talking to teams. I remember we played Nottingham in Champions League, and I had some friends there, Benedict and these guys, and they were just talking to me about it. And I said, man, that's a great thing. And I was thinking, geez, I almost wanted to do it the year before I did it. And I was thinking, man, in a bad way to think, but I was saying, if I get hurt playing, like, there's no way I can ever get an MBA, the year before I went to do it.
Yeah.
And it was kind of when, I was just thinking, man, like, I'd really want to do this. And when I got there, it was, I mean, the guys in the level of hockey and the fans and the city, like Cardiff's such an awesome city. And, the way, the owners and management run it, like I was like, this place is incredible. So I've had such a great time in Cardiff.
I don't think you need me to talk too much about it because everybody knows how I feel about it. Like dude, I was out of the game, like out of the game for 5 years. I'm working away, and like this is a lot to do with why I have this podcast. Is them having me over for that night 5 years later is like, yeah, I did do some weird stuff that last year when my knee was hurt, and like I did the all I was doing was trying to help the team win. Like I was just
Yeah.
doing the best I could. And for them to do that for me, like what other team in the
That was
UK?
an awesome night, and I didn't even know you.
Right. And like you got to see me naked, which was pretty impressive too, right? Hey. Um but no, like Cardiff is it was exactly what I needed at that time in my life. Like you said, they gave me an MBA right before my knee went out. The season before my knee went out, I got an MBA, and it was all because of the Cardiff Devils. And then when my knee went out, they didn't even send me home. They let me stay there and be part of it, and didn't make my wife and little kids move back to Canada with a house that was rented out and have all that, which there's a lot of teams in Europe,
Oh, the Panthers.
as we've discussed, what team in Europe would let me stay there and end up doing what I did for them because I realized what they were doing for me, to then have a Wally night is just so ridiculous, but it's because of the people they are. It has nothing to do with me. I was just trying to do my best to be like, dude, I just want to be a part of this. Like, they do run. And the city, like the places you can go after a game, the places you get to live, you're on the water, like, it is living, isn't it?
Oh, it was. It's just awesome. Like it's just the way they, like you said, the way they treat the guys. They treat the guys so well there, and that's why you see. I mean, there's not many teams in anywhere in Europe really, unless you know, you get into some of the countries where guys are actually from there, right?
Yeah.
But there's not many teams in Europe in general now where you see like the guys that have been in Cardiff for the amount of time they have been. And that says a lot about what they're doing there, right? Like the Joey Martins and the Hidde, all those guys, right?
They were there when I started there, man. That's
So, I
crazy.
mean,
I like look at me. I've been out forever and they were still there, and the
yeah,
yeah.
there's a reason why they can keep guys like that there for so long, right? They're doing everything right. So it's and I had it was funny. My first year I was there, I was in training camp. I think I forget when do you get there? Like early August. And I had a group of buddies that are like dying to go on a road trip. So I get over. I'm like, boys, this place is incredible. Like you guys got to get over here and check this place out. So they booked a weekend. We played. I think they saw two of my games. We played Sheffield, and then uh, we played the Swede at Vaxjo or Vaxwa. I don't know how you say it. So we played them in the Champions League game, and then they went to a Cardiff City game when they were in the top league.
A soccer game, folks. Soccer
Yeah,
game.
soccer
That's the
game.
top league soccer, or right? Top league, maybe second.
Yeah,
Anyways, go ahead.
yeah, they were in the top league, and then there was that Sunday there was a NFL game in London at Wembley. So they had like the ultimate trip. The boys still talk about it. Well, it was only a couple years ago, but even still, 2 3 years ago.
Well, and
They
like
had like
when
they're
I
like you got
was
to.
when I was there, they had the Rugby World Cup. Like there's so much going on. You had people from every country there, and it was like, and then Lordo kind of shut us down, which was ridiculous. But like, it was the Rugby World Cup, and like we weren't even supposed to go to games. It was absurd, but whatever.
I got to a rugby game there. Yeah, actually, the best thing I went to, the rugby was good. Darts. Did you go to a dart event?
I never went to a dart event. I had little children.
It
I was
was.
doing my MBA, dude.
Yeah,
I
true.
didn't go anywhere.
I think I got out a little bit more than I was there by myself my last year. So this darts comes to town, and I had a buddy from here actually. He was working for a gambling company over there. He's like, "Yeah, I got 2 tickets. I'll leave them for you. It's like at a table or something." And so me and Dad, I think it was Jardy. I know there was a few of us went, and I heard they were crazy. Going to live darts is like the best event I've ever seen.
Is that right?
You gotta YouTube it later. Like,
well, I've seen it. I know what it is. So like they're like 120, right?
well, I think it's 180 or 120. And then people go crazy. And everyone's dressed up in like costumes. There's cheerleaders. They come out of a tunnel like
Shut
WWE
up.
wrestlers. Yeah, it's just insane. And for us, it's so crazy because we don't even like no one here watches darts, right?
Well, I hold on. I have a golf dartboard in my shed.
Oh, I played darts as well, but I mean, it's not going to be on TSN.
No, and you're not going to come out of a tunnel like you're in the WWE.
Come out like Ric Flair. but
Chuck some darts.
It's crazy. They have like the flames coming up or the fire. Like it's a whole production, and people just sing and chant. Well, you know how passionate the fans are over there for anything, right?
I can't believe how they can get into it. Like even the hockey, like it's like once they decide they're a hockey fan, they just like they can't take the highs and lows anymore. They just like once they start whistling at you. Anyways, darts. Let's not talk about that. Darts. That was way more fun.
That's true. No, it's quite an event. Like it's.
So how long does it last? How long does a dart event last?
I can't remember. Like there's different. There's a bunch of different. I mean, I don't know how many matches they have a night, but it's.
I mean, like so you're there like you're talking you're drinking like 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours. Like how long are you watching a guy throw a dart with like they come out of the cage?
Well, no, different. There's different games. 2 people play. Yeah, 2 people play, and then another 2 come out, and another. It's pretty ongoing. I'd say probably 3 hours, maybe. But it's a big drinking event. Yeah, it's like people go there. Everyone there is probably drinking in the whole stadium.
And this was in Cardiff?
This was in Cardiff at Motor Point.
Oh, Motor Point. Okay. Yeah, I never went there. I know they had concerts and all sorts of stuff there, right?
Yeah. Yeah, so it's a nice venue, actually.
No, like Cardiff has literally everything you could ask for. Like everything.
It's awesome. You're right on the water. You go downtown, and you got a big castle in the middle of downtown. Great restaurants.
Then you got the bay.
That's where I lived right by Cardiff Bay. I loved Cardiff Bay.
That's where I lived. That's where I lived for both years was Cardiff Bay. Yeah, it's incredible. You get down there to. Did you ever hit Eli Jenkins? That's where I wrote my thesis.
Yeah, it was. That was pretty close to my place. So I was just on the other side of Cardiff Bay. I'm trying to think. I think I know where you guys used to live, though.
Okay.
I was a quick walk to there, though. But I've been there. Yeah, that's a nice spot.
Yeah, no, I wrote my thesis there. Yeah, no, they know me well at Eli Jenkins. Yeah, yeah. I got my MBA there, so thank you, folks.
Strong Wi-Fi signal.
I did just so everybody knows, though, I did graduate with whatever they call it in the UK, honors, merit, whatever it is. So,
I had honors too.
Yeah, so Eli Jenkins didn't get in the way that bad, folks. Just saying. So I guess we're getting near the end, and we've been going a while. So you mentioned what you're doing now, and it's been a strange time, but like you're ready to rock again as soon as this is over. You're ready to play hockey again. I can tell you're itching, and you're just dying to get back now, and you still have another summer to get through, eh?
Well, yeah, it's funny. My buddies laugh at, once in a while we'll have we have a thing here, Don't Airs, it's called. It's kind of like a
stop talking dirty to me. Don't talk dirty to me. Hey, Hey, we're on a podcast. You're not allowed to talk dirty to me. Okay? Seriously, stop it.
But anyways, for me, it's just been like it's funny to think how long I've actually been home. I've been home over a year, right? And usually you're just home for the summer.
2
So I remember,
months, 3 months, yeah.
yeah, it was like January, February, and me and my buddy were eating a donair. We got it from a different place. I said, "Man, this is like the best donair we've had all summer." He's
Oh,
like,
I
"There's
talked to you about this. Okay, go ahead.
yeah," but he's just laughing. He's like, there's snow on the ground. It's winter." He's like, "You've been home for like 8, 9 months." I'm like, "Geez, yeah, time kind of flies, right?" And you just kind of, yeah, flies by. But no, I'd like to. I don't. Like I said, taking the year off makes you realize, you miss it. And, you miss that competing, right? There's only, I mean, you can play pickup with your buddies, which actually gets quite heated and quite intense. But it's nothing like playing a game and throwing the hits and all that, right?
No, it's totally different experience. When like whether it's let's see here. Okay, hold on. Whether it is Brinas, Amur Habarovsk, Asat, Lokomotiv Yaroslava, Yugra, Kanti, Mansk, or Ulea, or Taperach, or Wolfsburg, or Cardiff. It doesn't matter. Like being part of a team, being part of the guys, going to work every day, putting in the work, being together, drinking coffee together, putting on your gitch, talking about what you did the night before, talking about whatever's going on at home. That's the stuff you miss. And I totally get it now. I've been out for 5 years and I figured out how to somewhat get it back in my life. And I hope you get it back in your life sooner than later because we all need this, man.
Oh yeah, no, you're exactly right. It's just that the stuff you take for granted, right? Just the laughs and the just being part of the team. It's hard to even explain to people, right? If they've never, they've never,
People that haven't been a part of it, like
yeah, it's hard to
it. Well,
explain.
it's hard to explain too. But like even I think like there's differences too. Like there's different levels of us too. I think, uh, like guys that are, you know,
Yeah, I know what you mean.
do you know what I mean? There's different levels of us, and there's some guys that just think certain things are funnier than others, and some people are a little more uptight. And I think that if we were on the same team ever in our careers, we would have really hit it off. At least that's from
Oh, I
what
think
I've,
so
at
too.
least
But yeah,
from
I
what
totally,
I
yeah,
hear.
yeah. No, I mean, I'm sure we probably have the same sense of humor, and but yeah, you're right. I mean, obviously with the team, there's, I mean, how you got 20 guys, so there's going to be a lot of different, different personalities and everything, and but yeah, I usually you know migrate or navigate to the people, just kind of like to have a good laugh and you know sense of humor is a little crooked, which is funny.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
and yeah, I know exactly what you're like, and hockey's hockey, and I just I really hope you're back soon. I hope like I'm glad I'm not glad. I think having a winter at home with your buddies and what we're all going through probably puts it into perspective how lucky you are. Um, cause, but on the other hand, is man, you've worked for everything you've done because you don't last this long. You don't play on all these teams unless you're a team guy and you're like and from what I've heard from guys, I was so excited today just from what I hear from Caldy, who is from my rookie year, to Pigs, who is from my last year. Both of those guys
Oh,
knew you, and I'm getting messages from both of them about you, and it's like they all match up. Everything matches up that like if we would have played on the same team, you know what? I might have even dipped bread in ketchup.
It's good.
But I might have had a little sriracha in it, you know? And
Yeah, the fancy stuff.
okay. But seriously,
it.
do you have anything else to say before we shut her down? Because I really do appreciate you coming on because you know what? Like I keep having these guys on with ridiculous careers and it's making me a little bit too legit to just be in my shed. Just to be in my shed. So thank you for coming on.
I thought you were in the dressing room there with the.
Oh, sorry. Do I? Yeah, no, I'm not very good at updating the what's it called there, the YouTube page, because you know that
like
it's
the
just.
backdrop there. It's good.
Well, there you go. This is where I actually am. There I am. I'm in the shed. Yeah,
Nice.
yeah,
Nice.
it's beautiful out here.
I like
But hey, just so you know, thank you so much for stopping by the podcast via Zoom from Halifax. This episode has been brought to you by Plumbers Golf. PlumbersGolf.com. 2 ales, 20. That will get you 20% off your next order from Plumbers Golf. And let me tell you, folks, it is good stuff. I actually was explaining to the wife that like I actually had a sponsor, and I was like, check out this website, like check it out. And she was like, wow, could you get me one of those beanies? And I was like, I have no idea. I'm just talking to Dixon tonight. But I tell you, they got some nice.
Yeah.
And look at his hat there, folks. Like they got good stuff. So thank you very much for sponsoring the podcast. And this has been another episode of 2 Ales and Hockey Tales with Wally, brought to you by Plumbers Golf from Halifax, Nova Scotia, I think.